Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Tracey.
I'm Carol.
And we are my
Outlander
Purgatory. Christmas edition. Holiday edition. Whatever your winter holiday is, it's that.
It's a very special mop video. It's a mop Christmas, y'all.
It's a very special mop Christmas.
Right.
/ recap, because there will be recapping too of this episode. Carol, what are you drinking that's especially festive for our special Christmas edition?
I'm having a wee nip of eggnog and Oven 18, which I should not be putting in eggnog, but I have to do a little kid driving after this, so I can't be having a big, large glass of any type of alcohol.
So she's just wee. I, on the other hand, don't have to drive for the rest of the day. I've been out and about all day, running around here and there. And so I made myself a little chocolate mint martini.
Oh, that looks good.
And it's very simple. And every time I make one of these, I'm like, why the hell don't I drink this all the time? Because it's so good.
Because you'd be a million pounds.
There you go. There you go.
Did you know that there are 170 calories in 1/2 cup, 4 ounces of eggnog?
I do now. Good thing I don't like eggnog.
When you're trying to have somebody gain weight, this is what you give them.
Oh,
Here,
you're
have
not
some eggnog.
kidding. You're not. Mm-hmm. Have you done that? Because that's a really good plan, actually.
Yep.
And it's so seasonal too.
So seasonal. I was telling somebody at the hospital. It might have been the dietitian. I don't know. I think it was the dietitian, and she was like, "Oh, it's a perfect time of year." She was like, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's a lot of calories."
Very, very true. How has your week been this week?
Shitty AF. How about you, Tracey?
Oh, just busy, but I'm off now till New Year's. So
yay, he's off, and then bring the hoodies.
I know, one more month in the office. So I have to say, before we start talking about this week's episode,
Lord help us.
Oh, the Washington. Lord.
My eyes!
We'll get there.
You weren't like, oh, no. And then you felt like calling dice on yourself.
You wanted to be like, you know how like when like somebody knocks over something that's worth $1 million in a movie, and like somebody else like runs like in slow motion to try to catch it.
Can't
like,
get to the TV fast enough.
That's what it was. When Trent was like, oh, who's that over there? That's... And we're both like...
I was like Pete Townsend when he called the police on himself because he accidentally waded into some child porn online. That's what I felt like.
Oh my God.
I was seriously like, oh, they wouldn't. No, they're just going to stop it. You're going to stop. Here. What? No more. And then I was like.
All right. Why am I looking at this? No. Okay. Before we'll get there. But before we get there, I don't think you can see my little thingy here. There we go. Now it was like Carol was saying, I look like I'm, sort of wearing about to go into like Anastasia or like, whatever with my little.
She looked like an uber rich Russian woman in NYC at Christmas. Or you guys, she looks like Shura for the Kurt Say It and Shura people. She totally doesn't. She looked like Shura out and about.
Shura out and about, going to Target, running errands, whatever.
Oh my God. She totally does.
So, okay. So, wait. We have to talk about last week because the reaction to episode 407, was it Blood of My Blood? Blood of My Blood, yes. Blew my mind. Now, I know that you have not been as like following the reaction or like the pulse.
I haven't been anywhere near it. I'm sorry, you guys.
The room. But I mean, you get that, like you see the comments and stuff that people are like putting on the blog, or are you not like really
under regular circumstances, I would be. If you think I have the kind of time, do you know the scheduling I have to do for this one video every week?
I know.
If anybody's ever been a caregiver before, if there's been any illness and it's a big deal, there is no time. There's no time.
I was thinking maybe you'd be scrolling through the comments on your phone or something like while you're...
I will try to do that more, but it's very difficult.
All right, well, then I'll fill you in.
You're not always in the mental state to look at Outlander comments. You know what I mean? So.
I'll fill you in. And what happened with this was it was so polarizing. There were some people who, like us, felt like it was very, like, really liked it, really thought that the Bree, Leary storyline was kind of a unique way to sort of go through her whole story. But there were many other people who were like, Brianna needs... Okay, so in the books, Brianna goes right to Lollybrock. You okay? You stop?
Sorry, keep going.
Brianna goes right to Lollybrock. She meets up with Jenny. She meets up with Ian. She meets up with, like, you know, the 100 various Frasers running around. Oof, I said Fraser. That's bad. You know, and everything's hunky-dory, and she, like, gets to know her whole heritage, whatever. Well, we didn't see that happening. One of the big issues from this week about not going in that direction is that and I think we talked about this last week, that Laura Donnelly was not available. She was in a play in the West End.
Well, is that for sure? That's why they didn't do it? Did they? I thought they wrote in the Leary stuff figuring it was much more interesting for television.
No, they wrote in the Leary stuff because it was like, oh shit, Laura Donnelly can't do the show. What are we going to do now? And Nell Hudson is like, hi.
She's like, I'm on a break from Victoria. And I'm pretty much one of the best actors on the show.
I'm available.
She's so awesome.
But people were so
mad.
You know, people were furious. People were like, I don't want to, you know, it's wasting a whole episode seeing Leary and, you know, she's a bitch and this and that. And, you know, just people did not like it. And even the Frank stuff, a lot of people were like, I don't need to see Frank again.
Oh my
and I thought
God.
the Frank stuff was fantastic.
You know what? Normally, I feel like not old me, but I'm pretty old now. I feel like I would have maybe been that way in the past, but I just loved it. It was such a welcome surprise.
The thing for me, I felt like in the books...
She's got to have a drink, y'all. She got to think about it.
People are loving that drinking game. I'm sorry, but that was like the most brilliant thing we ever came up with.
What was?
In the books drinking game. The most brilliant thing ever. We should patent that.
Are we playing that? Because I...
Well, you're going to have to like...
That. You guys, I'm going to have to move on to Taco Bell.
Okay. So in the books, it is interesting to sort of see Brianna interact with everybody, whatever. But I felt like as a TV viewer, so say they did do it that way. Wouldn't it be just like when Claire, like, met everybody for the first time? You know, she'd get to know Jenny, and she'd get to know Ian, and she'd get to know this whole mess of cousins, and she'd see the portrait. Well, we've already seen the portrait, and we've already met Jenny from, like, a non-Fraser's eyes. And we've already met Ian from a non-Fraser's eyes. And if you think they're going to be, like, rounding up all these, like, various young Jamie and young this and young that.
Yeah.
You know, for this one episode, that's not even the whole episode.
It's way cheaper to just have Ian show up and call it a day. And those dudes does anyone know who they were?
I know.
Popping in and out of the room. And the one guy was like, this is my big break and I am taking it. Because he came in and he was like, here's your bags. Whatever. And I'm like, wait, who is that? He said it in such a commanding way. I was like, we must know him. And then I was like,
no. So yeah, so it was very, very, very controversial, this episode. I might say the most controversial episode that we've had since it started. And people either loved it or they hated it. I do have to interject one really interesting comment that two comments. that I heard yesterday. So the first one is yesterday I went to my 8th grade reunion. I do every year with my elementary school classmates. And there's like a ton of Outlander fans there. And I knew that my one friend Barb, hi Barb, I knew that she was a fan because we'd already talked about it some. But she said, she brought up the coolest thing, which is like she liked last week because of the parallels between last season when Claire sort of took care of Marsali a little bit, like took her under her wing. And, you know, Marsali was kind of like, you know, missing her mother.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And so you saw this relationship with Claire trying to be nice to Marsali. And now, this season, you kind of see the parallel, you know, interaction between Leary and Brianna, Claire's daughter. So I like the, like, you know, lockstepness of it. I thought it was very cool. And then the other thing that was hilarious, and then we'll move on because we have to get going on this recap. The other thing that was just hilarious that we just saw today, and I texted you this, and it's like the best comment of all time. And I don't know who it was. Oh, it was anonymous or unknown or whatever. So whoever you are, I laughed right out loud at your comment, which is, you know, everyone was like bashing the whole, like, Brianna, like, you know, walks through the Highlands in a Party City Highland wench costume.
Oh my God.
And you know how unbelievable that is. And she's like, but the thing is, like, we're willing to suspend disbelief the fact that Brianna traveled through time. You know? So
I'm
like,
sorry. I can't.
I just thought that was hilarious, and I was like,
I think that is a good point, but the time travel is something that I never even, that I suspend disbelief because it's not real. But walking your ass through the Highlands in your Party City dress is.
Yeah, no, I get
ridiculous.
it. But I just thought it was funny.
You're right. You make a good point. I guess talking about time travel, I guess, you know, we're blowing off the fact that this is time travel, which is pretty funny. That's a good point.
I thought it was a really good point.
At the same time, I never touch on the time travel. It's easy to suspend disbelief. It doesn't. You can't do it.
Well, you have to assume that that's like real in order to like go with the show.
Well, yeah, there's certain things that you can suspend disbelief and certain things that you can't. And for me, the time travel is easy because it's not real. But the walking your ass through the Highlands for miles and miles and miles and miles, it's the Highlands. Like, you're not in Brooklyn, you're in the Highlands. Like, there's just no way. And she's of course God. Like in like Glencoe. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
Like, I mean, oh, look, it's bananas. I mean, come on. All right.
And we got a much better look at her DSW boots in today's episode.
My God, the DSW boots.
Which
kind of DSW boots?
I want them a little higher. I want like the heel a little higher, but I'd buy those boots. You know. Okay. All right. Let's get going because we have a good amount to cover. It was a little bit shorter of an episode this time. It was 53 minutes, as opposed to the normal, 58 or whatever. And I noticed that always because when I'm starting the show, I'm like, oh my God, 5 minutes fewer to have to recap on it.
So let's just talk about everything.
Okay. All right. So we ready?
Yes, except for I lost the little U. I always have the little U up here. So no one sees me looking at the sideways U like this. So anyway, this is what happened. The little U is always up there, but now you're gone.
I know. I have to have the little U up there too because I don't want to look at myself. Okay. Episode 408, Wilmington. I don't think there's any hidden meaning to that. It's just like that's where the episode takes place, in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... God, never mind. Okay, the writer is Luke Shellhouse, and the director, once again, is Jennifer Gutzinger. And our Easter egg is people walking into a theater.
Yes.
Unless there was, like, some real hidden meaning that I didn't get, I didn't really see it as anything other than, like...
them going to the theater.
It wasn't an Easter egg in the way that we've come to expect the Easter eggs to be. It was just kind of like an outtake from later in the show. He
took the knife out of the cheese. Do you think he wants some cheese?
Okay, so we open up and there is Roger. Roger has clearly made it in the Stephen Bonnet ship.
Ship of Fools.
Ship of Fools. He got himself out of the little scrape.
Yeah, I wasn't bothered by that, but were you like, wasn't there more? Like there was a ton more on the boat and everything, but it was just sort of like Bonnet was just like a vehicle to get him here like real quick. He's not stopping at different places or anything. Like there he is.
A vehicle to get him here.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. It had double meaning. Get it? It's a vehicle and a vehicle.
No belief suspension there.
I don't know. I don't remember anything like really massive happening after that. After the
how about
stuff.
Oh yeah.
And plus,
They wait a minute though. They didn't even get into that. Wasn't there more to that? See, there's stuff that I can't remember when it happened.
I know.
So
it's so hard to remember.
Is it too early to put in a spoiler alert?
Well, I don't even. Is it like really that big of a deal to even talk about?
I'm confused.
I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's that big a deal to talk about.
Can I? Well, mine's a spoiler, so.
All right. Okay, we can put it in a spoiler. Are you ready?
I was gonna say.
Wait, well, hold on, Sheldon.
Excuse me. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Why am I confusing this with Buck?
Well, you're not confusing it with Buck. Buck is her husband.
That's what but didn't something go on the ship with Buck hating Roger?
See, this is where I'm a little confused about too.
Buck thought Roger was like hitting on the wife, right?
I think so, but I don't remember if it happens on the ship or if it happens like does she go by herself with the baby anyway and they meet them there. I think because if he's on the ship, why is Roger like hiding her and the baby and him not knowing about it? You know, like wouldn't he know that? Like, oh,
I don't know. This is what I'm saying. I'm confused.
I think he put her on the ship, or I think he met her at the ship when they were there. That's what I'm thinking, but I could completely be making this up. I really don't know.
Okay.
But yes, you are right. The Buck is her husband, father of wee Jemmy.
Right.
And as we know, since it's a spoiler, a ancestor of Roger.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we are done with the spoiler. It's all done.
I'm closing stuff so that my computer is not running too loud for y'all.
So clearly Roger has been there for a while because his hair is really long. It's long enough, in fact, to have his very own teeny tiny ponytail.
Oh my God!
And, I need to drink this whole friggin' thing for that.
I took a picture of his teeny tiny ponytail just to say, Tracy, he's got a nubbin just like everyone else. What the hell?
Why? This is where you insert the Nance Kerrigan. Why?
Why the nubbin?
Why?
I only saw that movie, by the way.
I mean, like, why?
Why the nubbin?
Why?
I don't know.
Either, but okay.
I don't know.
So he's got the picture of Brianna, which I was thinking, like, she must be wearing modern day clothes. Maybe not. I don't know. I kind of forgot. Whatever. So and he's looking. He's like, "Have you seen this woman? Have you seen this woman? Have you seen this woman?" And everyone's like, "No, we haven't seen her."
So he's like,
I don't know where this is going.
Like, dude, you've traveled into another century to find your not girlfriend, and you're just going to be that careless to spill your beer all over.
Oh my God, you've skipped like 2 scenes. You've skipped like 2 scenes here. Okay. The thing that you... Oh my God.
Guys, so... Do we have to leave these hats on?
Yes, because my hair looks terrible. You can take yours off.
Oh, because yours looks terrible out of the hat. Mine has looked terrible in the hat.
Look, I'm keeping mine on because I have not washed it today, so... So mine is totally staying on.
All right, so back to Fergus.
Okay. So... Say that again.
Fergus.
Okay. Okay. So Roger's like looking at the printer because he realized it's the Wilmington Gazette. This is the newspaper where they got the big scoop about something that happens later. So he has some back and forth with the editor or whoever the hell it is, and then out comes Fergus. And Fergus is all, like, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. And I have to say, your fateful words came back to me about how Fergus is kind of not Fergus. And that sort of, I give you that for this scene. Because Fergus, I wanted Fergus to be like, don't tell me what to do, editor.
To Roger?
No, to the editor that was bossing him around.
Dude.
To the dude who was bossing him around. I was like, Fergus wouldn't stand for that.
At least Fergus's little ponytail is big and bushy.
Fergus's hair looks good, but anyway, so he bumps into Roger. Roger's like, have you seen this chick? Fergus is like, no. And all of us are like, it's Fergus and Roger! It's Fergus and Roger! They're meeting! Ah!
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I kind of actually liked seeing Fergus. Like, usually I'm like, ugh, not Fergus. But this time I was like, it's Fergus!
See, and it's funny, and I was the opposite because, not like I was the opposite. I was glad to see him, but I just like, he wasn't very debonair. He was kind of, I was seeing what you were, I was buying what you were selling earlier.
He's like a child. He's like a sweetheart. He's not Fergus.
Fergus Lamaze Fergus. And that would make more sense to all of you.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yes, that was Christy. Remember Christy used to love herself some Fergus. But this Fergus, would you be like, oh, Fergus? No.
Well, I would if they let him, be Fergus-esque.
He's you guys, for anybody who hasn't read the books, he's just a sweetheart in this. He's cute, he's adorable, he's a nice guy, and he's a sweetheart, and he's like Jamie's son. But in the books, he's like, not debonair. What would you call? He's got a charisma about him that everybody falls in his. Yes, he's French. French bread.
Turn that down. Like,
who, me? Oh, yes. Sorry.
He's French. That's the best way I could put it. He's French. He's French in all the good ways. He's very debonair. He's very cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And in this, he's just Marsali's nice husband.
And, printer boy. So, whatever. Okay.
Maybe we're getting, you don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming, you guys. We don't know what's coming.
So, all right. So, Fergus goes home to Marsali, and they're way cute. They have their little lake apartment or whatever. And Fergus is like, where's, the babe? And Marsali's like, he's in there. Well, they have company, and it's Jamie and Claire.
This was the first time I felt it with Jamie and Claire. Them being the old folk. This was the first. I'm like, Grandma and Grandpa are in the back room. I expected them to start talking about their corns and their sciatica.
I can't believe they're grandparents. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Because that happens in the books too. You sort of just get to this point where you realize Jamie and Claire are not the focal point anymore, which is fine.
Right.
But these other characters are really cool.
We said that last week, that it's becoming more of an ensemble show.
And yet, Jamie still doesn't have one gray hair on his head.
But he does have a little nubbin ponytail and bad bangs. So.
All right, keep going. Oh, the bad.
But we do meet baby Jamel, who was way cute. I'm sorry, but that baby was adorable. So Claire and Marsali go to fix lunch, as Claire said. And I was like, lunch? Isn't lunch like a very modern day term? Wouldn't it be your midday meal would be dinner,
your supper or something?
Supper.
Yeah.
And why weren't they all like lunch?
I don't know, but I saw her putting together a plowman's platter that I could dive into. The cheese and the apples and yummy.
Yeah, that did look good. But it was really just one of Claire's, the first of several Claire utterances that everybody is like, huh? Or should have been, huh? Okay, anyway, so Claire and Marsali have a little chat about motherhood. Marcy's all like,
when I look at that band, I just go nuts. My whole life flashes before my eyes.
But here's the question, and I didn't really realize this. So, evidently, Fergus and Marsali don't know that Claire and Jamie have a daughter. Because Claire was all like, motherhood is da-da-da-da-da. like I know about it. I've heard. And
yeah,
I
I was wondering the same thing when she said that. I was like, did she just deny Bree? Don't they know that she has a daughter that
I don't think they do.
Her?
And I mean, they just
think she's from Boston. Like they don't. So it's kind of weird. Like they just think that she's been in Boston. They don't.
Right. Exactly.
So I guess she's figuring, well, my daughter's never going to come here, and if I had a daughter who lived here, she'd show up. So I have to act like I don't know. It's weird. It's a lot of lying, and I don't like that.
I thought that Jamie and I thought that Brianna, or the existence of Brianna, like was known to Jenny and Ian, for example. I thought that they told them. I don't know. I don't really remember. But it was kind of surprising to me. Like I thought it was more of or less of a secret. Oh well. Anywho. All right.
Next,
we're back to Roger. Now, what is Roger doing, Carol?
Roger's drunkenly spilling his drink all over the only picture anyone has of Bree in the 18th century. Dumbass. I was like, that is the dumbest thing. Come on.
And then he's like,
Roger is sort of like a golden retriever, but I mean, to be that dumb, come on.
Well, it's not dumb. I mean, he didn't mean to spill it. Like, and what is he going to do? I thought it was going to be like...
I'm being hard on poor Roger.
And his hair was just not looking good at that point.
I like his hair now that it's long.
I just don't like it in the wee ponytail. Oh.
I felt like they should have had Bree go, oh, look at your hair. like Will Ferrell.
Right? Or like he would be like, Brianna, when did your hair get curly?
It's the humidity!
Yeah. Brianna, when did you start looking exactly like your mother? For television show purposes.
I know.
And then he gets up and he's all pissed and he puts the wet sopping picture of Bree in his pocket. And then there she is.
And he hears a voice. And it's Bree!
And I did love the reunion. I have to say. I did love the reunion. Oh.
I did too. Roger, sort of drags her outside. Bree sort of like, almost as an aside, tells him that, or just says that she loves him. And he was really adorable when, he hears that and he's like,
did you say you love me?
And then he's like, wait, let's not have this conversation here. Let's go somewhere else. And he sort of drags her off. Well, who's watching from the window?
Oh, what's her name? The girl?
Lizzie. It's Miss Lizzie. Lizzie.
You guys, you ever watch a show or a movie and something happens that's so distracting you can't like enjoy the scene because you're like, but what about? I kept saying, what about Lizzie? What about Lizzie? You just walked out and left Lizzie. Because I didn't really catch on that they're like living at this place right now.
Right.
So I'm just thinking that she just walked out and left Lizzie. But they're staying there. So Lizzie can fend for herself, poor thing. No wonder Lizzie isn't like, 9. Do we know yet how old Lizzie was in the books?
Lizzie was like 14 in the books.
Oh, okay. I don't remember her being that old.
She was just tiny. She was just tiny, tiny, tiny. I mean, and actually, and this is from the books, but I don't think it's really a spoiler because I don't think they're going to do it. I'm not going to, Sheldon's not going to announce this one, so just plug your ears for 2 seconds if you don't want to hear this. In the books, Lizzie has malaria. So that's a big deal. Like, and Bree didn't know it when
she paid
when she paid her passage or whatever. So
AKA Lizzie, paid for her.
So what ends up happening is, Bree's taking care of Lizzie more than Lizzie's taking care of Bree at many points because Lizzie's like deathly ill and malaria sort of cycles through. So
yes. Well, I'm just glad there was a barn right there that they could go in, light candles, spread out a love nest, and stay for hours. And nobody thinks to come by.
I don't know what the heck that room was. I was like, it looks like a storeroom, but why is there a fireplace and, mood lighting?
I definitely know. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Just happens to be there. Just duck in anytime.
Yeah, and like he picked the right door. Like, what if he picked a different door and it was like a stable or something like that? Then they'd have to like
Jamie
would dive in.
see. I got a fine ass.
So I will say this. I felt like, and I don't know if in the books it's less like this, I felt like it was pretty abrupt. Like this whole like Bree, like, you know, yes, I love you, yes, I'll marry you. Like we haven't really seen the leading up to that. I mean, when you think about it, they had that conversation on the phone and it was sort of awkward, and he was like, I found your mother. I think he found, that was the conversation. I don't even remember at this point. But then they had some conversation, and it was sort of awkward, but good at the same time. And that's it. That's the last one. So then you never really see, and she didn't like talk about him or think about him, or you didn't see it happening. And now all of a sudden she just loves him, and she's like, he has all of her. When did that happen?
I don't know. And didn't she sort of not submit, but didn't she sort of, wasn't she very like, I'm not going to marry you. I might love you, but, you know, right now it's not right for me. And, you know, and now she's all, yes, I'll marry you. I guess it's because the 18th century changes everyone. It's been very difficult for her. And she realizes, thank God he's here. And yeah, I'm digging on him. Right. It's sort of like, you know, somebody saying, I love you in the throes of passion.
Right.
Like, oh, come on.
Right.
You don't,
right.
Do you really?
Right. Okay. So yeah, they go in, she's all like, and I mean, the other thing to your point about the whole, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, is like, she's still in the mindset of she's going back. Like, Roger's here now, we're going to find my parents, we're going to warn them, and then we're going to hightail it, you know, back into 1967 or wherever they are.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, Claire was always like, that trip to the Stones pretty much killed me. And Bree's all, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, whatever. I had a headache.
I'll do it again. Who cares? It'll be like a car accident, just like my mom.
So anyway, so no, she has, okay. So yeah, Roger has not changed his mind about all or nothing, and she's like, you have all of me. Yeah. So Roger's like, okay, what am I going to do about this? You know, I want to do it, but I know, let's get hand-fasted. I totally see. Okay, this is meant for everybody of a certain age. That's like a real certain age, because I was very young when this happened. This was right out of, and you're not going to remember this at all, because mom, our mom, used to watch All My Children like way early on.
Just gonna go get a drink. I might stop at the bathroom. You just keep going, and I'll be back.
It's always reminded me of like Philip and Tara in the church. He has to go off to Vietnam, and they're like, let's do this secret wedding, and so they just kind of married each other. And also, it's very Cold Mountain too, because they do that the same way. Except they go, I'll marry you, I'll marry you, I'll marry you.
Okay. First of all, no, I get to. Go ahead. Hand fasting was done because the priest came through once a year.
Right, Roger says that.
So if the priest was just here 2 months ago and you wanted to get married, you were SOL. So they would hand fast, and it was kind of like a promise to the priest that they were going to get married.
Right. That's all. I thought there was something else.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. Like, you know, it's cute. It didn't make me think of All My Children.
It made me think of All My Children, but
it made me think of my nephew Jimmy and his wife Lorraine, because they actually did a hand fast at their ceremony.
So it was like really more symbolic than anything else.
Yeah, it was totally, because they actually had I don't know if they got married by a priest, but it was a traditional.
Well, but I think also the hand fasting was basically like the real purpose of it was like, we want to have sex, and
yeah, exactly. And we want it to be okay. So here we are. Yeah. Okay. So now we're at the party.
So all right. Okay. All right. So Bree. It was weird, but it was weird in the book too. How Bree was just not like I need the build up to that. I need to see where Bree's mind is. But,
okay. All of a sudden, I looked at you, especially the little picture of you, and your hat looked like a wig. Like, because you know how the men wear the gray wigs?
There's my teeny little ponytail.
Because I have hair sticking out, but you don't. So all of a sudden, like this just looked like the wig.
Well, can you see this hair?
Yes, but you look like you look like you're all like, no, you look fine. It's not the way you look. It's not like, oh my God, you look wretched. Just whatever way I looked at you, I thought of when they wear the white wigs, like in the party, the dudes who wear the wig, and it's like the line is right here.
Yes.
So because you didn't have any hair underneath it, I just saw it as the line of the wig.
Okay.
It doesn't look bad at all. It looks cute. You look like Madam Snanoshki.
Oh my God. Okay.
Don't make me do lines from Kurt saying sure. Well.
When is that? Is there ever going to be a Shura and the other girl and that girl TV show? What the hell?
So last night we were about to watch. Oh no, Tom goes, "What do you want to watch? You want to watch something? Whatever you want." And he was thinking, "Say it in Shura," and he goes, "We can watch the Bronze Horseman." Whatever.
That's what I.
And I was like, first of all, if there was a Bronze Horseman movie or television show, I would have seen it already. And second of all, I hope it's still coming. And second of all, like, ooh, say it in Shura. Maybe we'll watch some of that. Anyway, I just have to interject also. I don't know where this just came from, but I'm going to ask. Are any of you guys watching The Last Kingdom? Have you ever seen The Last Kingdom?
No.
I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred. It's like a Vikings show, but it's England and Vikings. Keep going.
I think you asked about this before, like in some other recap. And
It's
I have not
pretty
watched
good.
it yet.
We're on season 3 of that.
We're
So
watching.
keep going.
This is a total aside, but we're watching Schitt's Creek, and I have to say, like, I mean, it's sort of funny, but like, I fall asleep through every episode. So I'm thinking,
Is that the one with what's her name's husband, with the Stand By Me kid?
No, it's with it's Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, I love when those two are together.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's funny in like a really dry humor kind of way. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not really like, I kind of expected a little more like Christopher Guest-ish.
I'm sitting here thinking, is it a Christopher Guest?
And no, not really. But it is funny. I don't know. I must not love it as much as I wanted to, or as much as I expected to, from all the like really positive stuff. Because every episode I fall asleep. And get this. So John and I started. So this is a half-hour show, you guys, right? We started accidentally with the last episode of the first season. So we're watching it, and we're like,
we already
what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
What is this about? And we didn't realize until we got to that episode again.
Yeah.
And we're like, we've seen this before. What the?
Yeah.
And then we're like, wait a minute. We watched this thinking it was the first one. So we haven't actually watched the first one yet.
Is it on Netflix?
On Netflix, yes.
Because we watched The Last Kingdom, and the other day we turned it on, you know, watched like episode 2 or 3 from the 3rd season, and then you just assume that the next one's going to come on like the next day when you turn it on or whatever. We get 3/4 of the way through the episode, and I realize it's like this first episode of season 2. I'm like, we've already seen this, and I don't even remember.
Carol,
all right,
I figured this out. This is us delaying having to talk about the next part of Outlander.
Okay, we do need to hurry, or else I'm going to have to pause and come back.
Okay. All right, we're now at the Wilmington Theater. Governor Tryon, Jamie and Claire are going to the theater with Governor Tryon. Isn't this fun?
Yes, according to Murtaugh, it is.
But Tryon wants Jamie to meet this guy, Edmund Fanning. And he has a whole bunch of jobs, and I couldn't write them all down. He's the public register of deed and like a million other things. He's very much like got his hands like in a bunch of different places. But right
10
now,
jobs on.
Right now, he's got his hands right here because he's really in pain. And of course, who picks up on that? Claire.
The healer.
The healer. She's like, oh, you're in pain. And he's like, oh, it's so, and Joey Tribbiani had her.
I got this blinding pain in my stomach when I was lifting weights before, and then I passed out, and haven't been able to stand up since. But I don't think it's anything serious.
Oh my God, I don't know if you guys ever saw that episode, but it's like pretty hilarious. And so yeah, he's like, I have a little protrusion here, something's sticking out, but I'm sure it will be fine.
My
Claire's
physician assures me that it'll go away in a week's time.
So Claire's like, I don't know about that. You might want to see a surgeon, which I just happen to be. And Tryon shuts it right down. Tryon's like, yes, he'll go see his surgeon. Why don't you go over there with the wives?
Yeah,
and
you're uppity woman.
I'm gonna take your husband to meet, the people with the other people with penises in the room.
Yeah.
So they go off, and then it becomes like that scene in Titanic where like Rose is showing Jack who like all the rich people are.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, this guy over there, he is like got his fortune in tobacco, and then this guy over there is like this and this and this. And Claire's like, who's that person? Oh, well, that's Colonel Washington. He was a big deal in the French and Indian War. And I just am watching this like,
ow. Ow.
There's a sound, this podcast I like, they sometimes will play the sound drop, and it's of The Price is Right when you lose a game, and it goes. And that was the sound in my head.
And a hush fell over the room.
As they were like, please, we're not about to meet George Washington.
They were.
No. Now.
You mean dumbass? I mean George Washington?
Now, non-book readers might be like, what's the big problem? Like, start meeting George Washington. That's really fun. Doesn't happen in the books. The whole Jamie and Claire and Murtaugh storyline is made up. Like, it's all new. It's all new.
And George Washington being a complete dumbass. That's new, too.
So, I guess, so Claire's all like, I'd like to meet him.
Yeah. Claire totally fangirled over George Washington.
Claire was like, can I have your autograph?
Claire totally Tracey and Mead over George Washington.
She'd be like, can I take a selfie with you, George Washington?
Oh, and how about how she said, chop down the cherry tree?
Oh my God.
I wanted to hide under pillows. I was mortified. And talk about a hush falling over the room. And then she was like, everyone does that in Virginia.
Oh my God.
Little boys.
Oh my God. Oh God. I'm sorry, you guys. Like
Tracey, was it Leary doing the wash? Remember that episode you hated?
Yes, it was Leary doing the wash.
I spent my youth in Virginia.
Chopping down cherry trees is what a young boy would do. Figure of speech.
So, okay. You might have even gotten away with this, like, 10 years ago when, like, I'm trying to think of, like, George Washington and, like, cinematic appearances of George Washington. He's not in 1776. You only, like, hear, like, you read his letters. Maybe he's been in some other things. But George Washington, over the past year or two, is very much in the zeitgeist. And I will say for two reasons. Particularly two reasons for Outlander Purgatory. Number one, the show called Turn Washington Spies. Carol, would you like to speak to that George Washington?
Hottie McHotpants. Divine.
You have so little understanding of what is truly at stake.
And he talks like this through the whole show.
He's very controlled. He's very, like,
everything. Turn did it, too. He's very controlled until the one episode when he loses his damn mind in the tent.
Well, I mean, everyone's entitled.
I mean, oh, God, the rewriting. Or the just making stuff up. I don't understand. I guess it's just people sick of the rewriting of history that's gone on for so long. So now they're just going to start picking on, like, George Washington.
So, okay. But it's funny you should say this because, I mean, I was going to say the other zeitgeist is from the George Washington from Hamilton, who is also equally, like, stoic in a good way. Like, stoic is a little bit, like, negative connotation. Stoic in a good way. And, like,
right.
Has this quiet leadership about him. This guy was, like...
a dumbass.
Maybe that's the point. Like, where it's 1769 and he's not supposed to really be, like George Washington. Although he's gonna be George Washington in like 5 years, so
right.
whatever. But I don't know about you, probably not, because maybe you didn't have time. But I was like, I did more Googling after this episode about the historical stuff than I ever did in my life.
About whether or not George Washington heard of Culloden.
And maybe he didn't. Like, oh my God, it was so... Jamie, I was in Culloden. I can't say that I've heard of that.
Well, here's what I didn't understand. They're like, Jamie's a soldier. And he's like, oh, really? And Jamie's like, I fought in Culloden. And I thought, otherwise known as, like, you know, against the English. Like, and here's Tryon, like, loyal to the crown. Shouldn't Jamie sort of be considered a Jacobite?
Yes. Well, no. I mean, I think he did already know that, because I think Jamie, like, you know, came clean about all that stuff when he took the land. Yeah. And again, people are like, he gave you 10,000 acres? Boy, he must really like you. Like, he must say that never happens.
He must really need a lot of tax dollars.
He never gives us 10,000 acres at home.
Yeah. And you were a Jacobite.
But yeah, so just like, I mean, again, you know, for me, it's just really annoying because, like, Fanning would have been enough. Fanning's a real guy. Fanning is a douchebag. Fanning was like, maybe because again, this is all from my Googling. Fanning was like, you know, the whole like Tryon and his palace and kind of, you know, maybe being a little like loose with the purse strings. All that's true. And that to me was very interesting and was plenty. Like, it was like, that's stuff I didn't know. I didn't need to see George Washington just happened to be at this party. And I did Google it, and this is right around the time where he was like, you know, starting to be really pissed off about the taxes and, you know, how his business was doing really badly because he had to pay all this stuff in taxes and whatever. So right around this time is when he starting to turn from, like, loyalist to patriot. Probably it was because of that coach ride home. I don't know what Jamie said to him, but anyway, so just having him there was just so, like, it was so, like, trite.
Kitschy.
It was so trite and kitschy. But then, when he's like, oh, yeah, no, I never heard of Culloden.
Come on.
Come on. I grew up in Virginia. And Claire says, oh, yes, you chopped down a lot of cherry trees.
She must have been having a I don't know how to light the stove moment. Forget being... Well, can you blame them that they didn't want her working on Fanning when she's such a dumbass to say something like that? What, you're a surgeon and a woman?
You kidding me? My notes are just filled at this point with no! Spelled out in capital letters.
Really weird.
It was really, really weird. But I'm going to tell you something, Carol. What disappointed me almost even more. If you're going to do all this, okay? If you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's General Washington over there. Really? And then like, oh yeah, you were chopping down a lot of cherry trees, right? I mean, you know, whatever. Lean into it. Like it would almost have been better if, like, so she says that, right? And then they all like go off to like go take their seats in the theater. And it would have been awesome if he turns back to her like, almost like, how did she know? Like, then at least I'm like, okay, they're going all in on this, and it's
it would have been better
funny. It's kind of funny.
It would have been better if she saw a silver filling in Washington's mouth.
Here, it just looks like she's an idiot. It looks like, and like, she knows better than to make a mistake like that. And yes, it's George Washington, and it would freak me out if I was meeting George Washington just like, you know, off the cuff. But like, it was so like a sitcom-y line that was supposed to be funny and like, and you know how I feel about sitcom-y lines in Outlander.
I don't know. I feel like I kind of liked the fact that they seem to be lightening up a little bit. Like, sometimes Outlander can be really heavy, the show. So I was like, all right, you know, the only problem with it I really had, what'd you say?
Like at the end of this episode?
Oh my God. The only problem I really had with it was making Washington look like a dumbass. I'm sorry. I have so much to say on that, and I have nothing to say on that, and I'm going to leave it as nothing to say on that. Get off it. I mean, really? Do we need? Thank God Outlander has come along, and I don't mean Diana Gabaldon, to teach us our wrong ways of believing certain things about certain historical figures. Give me a frickin' break.
The wrong thing being that Washington was a dumbass?
Yes, you're bringing Washington into it when he wasn't even in the book, and now you're going to make fun of him, like make him look bad? Like what? Why? What purpose does it serve to A, put Washington in, and B, make him look like a dumbass? Number one, if you want to put him in there and be kind of light for the fans, it was kind of neat. It's Washington, it is, yeah, okay. But why make him look like a dumbass? I didn't like that at all. I don't know what your point is, Outlander producers. I don't know what your point is, but I don't appreciate it. That's what
I'm going to be very curious to see what Diana Gabaldon has to say about that, because Carol.
Well, Diana Gabaldon is a consultant. She knows what they do.
Right, but she doesn't always. She doesn't. We were talking about this at eighth grade reunion yesterday.
She can't tough shit if she doesn't like it sometimes. Probably.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yes, and she has said that. Like, look, people, I might consult, but they do what they do. Right. And look, would you rather have a show that has some stuff you don't like, or would you rather have no show? So I'm fine with it. But
it's kind of like they're like, well, okay, who have people heard of that we could be at this party? And it's not enough to like make us work intellectually a little bit and try and like look up Tryon and be curious about Fanning, and like I'm gonna like learn more about what North Carolina and the Regulator's history was back then. No, it's like, let's just shove Washington in there. Like who is famous? Okay, there's Washington and okay, let's just put Washington there.
Is it possible they were going for some known historical event, like some theater?
Wasn't like Ford's Theater
that he was actually at. I mean, that I was trying to wonder. Or I'll tell you one more thing, and then Tracy, you're going to get mad at me. We have to keep going.
I know. Yeah.
I will say this last thing about him. I totally forgot what I was just going to say. The heck, it was a really good point too.
All right, you'll think of it.
Oh. For those of you who've read the books, and I don't think this is a spoiler, there are some things like that down the road in the books. Down the road. There are some figures from history. I mean, it is historical fiction. So there are figures from history that you go, hey, look at so-and-so. Oh my gosh, so-and-so and so-and-so. So in that way, I just figured they're trying to bring the later stuff in earlier. Do you ever wonder how long the series is going to go? Are we going to have 9 seasons of Outlander? I don't know. I think they're going to bring in some later things earlier, and I think, if I had to guess, I think they're going to smoosh. Is there any confirmation that these next couple of seasons are only books 4 and 5, or do we have some extras?
We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
I think if I had to guess, I'd say they're going to smush.
We don't know. But that's actually a very good point that, the series may not go long enough to have one. And because again, it's not that big a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler at all to say Washington's really not. Washington is sort of there,
right? At
some point, sometime, but like not really a character. I don't know that we ever really see him on the page. I don't know. I don't remember. But he's not. It's not a big deal because it's just.
Wait, you mean in book 4?
No, he's not in book 4 at all.
That's what I'm saying to you. So why are you talking about if he's there or not?
I'm talking about figures. The whole Outlander world, like all of the books. Uh-huh. I mean, it's not surprising to know that these books go, span a lot of time. I smacked my monitor.
All right, you know what? We can keep going. We got
it. All right.
Because pretty soon I'm gonna have to stop and take her.
I know. Well, I have to stop too
because
I have a hard stop too. Okay.
All right. So next we have Roger and Bree back in the room that they don't own.
The hand fasting ceremony, which is very cute. Roger's really good. Oh, Richard Rankin is just so good. I mean, Sophie was good too, but like just looking at Richard Rankin's eyes was like just crazy good. Mm-hmm. I did like where Sophie was like, I'll give you all my worldly goods. Not like I have any like that, but whatever. Right. So back to the tavern. Lizzie is looking for Bree. She can't find her. And she's like,
Poor Lizzie. Didn't you feel bad?
But well, I mean, like a little bit of foreshadowing here. She's looking for the Bree, her mistress with the man of wanton morals.
Yeah.
So that's what's in Lizzie's head right now.
Interesting, Lizzie. Very interesting.
Okay, so we're back in the theater, and they're
Lizzie's
sitting
like,
down. What?
Lizzie's like, who's the cousin in the Munsters?
Marilyn?
You're like, these crazy Frasers got all kinds of stuff going on, and then we've got just pure and simple Lizzie. All right, keep going.
Okay, we barely know Lizzie, so I mean, whatever. Okay, so we're in the theater now. We have our seats, and it's very interesting that all the men are in one row and all the ladies
Claire's
are in
in
another
front
row.
of Jamie because she's got a vagina.
Yes, she's not allowed to sit with the dudes with penises. Okay, so Trian's all pissed at the regulators because, you know, they're, like, not wanting me to, like, you know, take all their tax money and build a big palace out of it. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. And there's this one.
There's this one who's really mean. And his name is Murtaugh Fitzgibbon.
His name is
He's
Murtaugh.
the head, but we have a spy in that camp.
Yes. Oh.
And so they know that there's some sort of, like, treasury, like, dispatch or whatever. And the gang of regulators is planning on robbing the dispatch.
Right.
And Jamie's all like,
and, you know, burying the lead, who's the spy? Next season? I mean, next week, are we going to, like, talk about who the spy is?
I don't know. Maybe it's incidental. Maybe the important thing is, like, they just, you know, you know that there is a spy, so that's how they know this information.
They have spies everywhere.
So you see
Who am
Murtaugh.
I quoting? They have spies everywhere.
It's Burly Dude from Turn.
Ambush, plain.
Burly Dude from Turn.
Not Burly Dude from Turn. Louise's boyfriend from Turn.
Fred Talmadge from Turn.
They have spies everywhere.
You guys,
Remember when he got shot in the shoulder? And
you guys want to see a good Revolutionary War story? You gotta watch Turn.
little credit.
Carol was the one. She found it. She watched it.
Forget about found it. You watched a couple, and then you were like, "No, I'm done. They all look alike and sound alike." And then I forced her, and then I bought it for like on DVD, but she didn't want it on DVD. She wanted to stream it, and yada yada. And next thing you know, she started watching it, and she realized that stick with it because season 1 of Turn is very historical, whereas season 2, not that it's not historical, they realized in the summertime between season 1 and 2, like, ooh, maybe we should make it a little more interesting. So then in season 2, you have lots of, oh no, she didn't.
All right, let's keep going because you're gonna be okay. Whatever. Yeah. So Murtaugh's the leader. Murtaugh somehow made his way all the way from Williams Creek, where he lives, to Wilmington, which I thought was like pretty far. Yeah. Like, but okay, whatever.
Yeah. And then the play is really boring and stupid.
The play is really boring. Well, okay, we're back to Brianna and Roger, and they're making out, and then they're gonna do it. I didn't know if we were going to see everything.
I was like, no way. There's
maybe
no way.
Sophie was working with the Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City contract, where But I was thinking about this, like, poor Sophie. So they signed the contract, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, at least Katrina was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Like, first episode or whatever. Poor Sophie has been having to work on the, with the knowledge that she's going to have to get naked for 2 years.
Oh my God. But I still was like, not her, because there was so much hair in front of the face a few times. So right. I was like, not her. Unless they're pulling the Lena, what's the, from Game of Thrones where she did the walk and they...
No, this ain't no Game of Thrones. They're not spending that money now. Right?
Okay,
no.
You're not, would you listen to my point?
What? I know what your point is. They
photoshopped
right.
her head on the body. So I'm like, No. Because there were a lot of shots of Sophie that were just like
right.
neck up and it looked very obviously not showing other areas.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, wait a minute here. Because there were so many times the hair was completely in.
Right.
So
or they do a back shot.
Yeah, I'd like to find out about this.
No, it was definitely, it had to be her. It had to be her. It had to be her. They don't have the money, Carol, for this production to be like, photoshopping somebody's head, Sophie's head on.
And she's just sitting here and he's like, and he's like, And I'm like, oh, no.
And of course, you know, because it's like TV and the movies, you know, he like does it the first time and she's like, ah! And then, you know, like about 2 seconds later, she's all into it and, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it's great.
It's just like real life.
Mm-hmm. Every moment. It's just a little, ow! Oh. Everything's great. That was just a split second of just a little discomfort. He went right back into awesome.
It went on and on. I don't know. You know what? This is the book too. I feel like we're not invested enough with Roger and Bree that I didn't need.
Oh God, there's too many close-ups and goodies. Too many lady bits close-ups. I do not need to see that.
Yeah. I think it went on a little long, and then
I think there was still a body double. I think there were both. I think it was her and a body double. Both.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they could probably get more done if they have 2 Brees. I don't know. He goes downtown, then later on she goes downtown. It just like was all. It just talk about like, you know, spending time on stuff that like, you know, could be
who
better
cares?
spent with other stuff. Whatever.
We get it.
Whatever.
We get it.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
But it was okay. So very nice. So we're in the theater and nothing much happens, and then we're back to Murtaugh. He's just standing there waiting for the wagon. Then back to Bree and Roger, blah, 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 blah. And then we're back to the theater, and Fanning is in real pain. Fanning is like, you know, they're watching the play, and then he's like, oh,
That was so great what Jamie did. Jamie's like this.
Oh, wait, I didn't see it. Jamie, like, elbowed him?
How did you miss that?
I totally missed it. My God.
Jamie's sitting here like, oh my God, listen.
Rules.
Jamie's sitting here like, oh my God, Murtaugh, what am I going to do? I'm sitting here watching this spoopy, stupid play and wearing these clothes, and Murtaugh's out there like about to get, oh my God, what am I going to do? And this is all going through his head. And all of a sudden he goes like, the guy's like next to him, like, and he goes, oh, like,
I totally missed that.
You got to watch it again. That's what happened. Was he like elbowed the guy, like in something had happened in the play, and he pretended like, yeah. Oh yeah, it was great.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Oh, I love that.
It was
great.
Oh
my God, this episode just went up like half a grade in my mind because of that.
Yeah. The guy's holding on. Jamie's like thinking. The dudes are up on stage, like, all right, sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and Jamie
genius.
pushed it in.
That's genius. I did not realize that. Oh, bravo, James.
Can you imagine if I'm wrong? Can you imagine if that's how I read it, but that's not what happened? Like now I'm sitting here like, wait, did I make that up in my head?
No, I think it should. Well, it is now. That's how it's going to be henceforth. Because it's really great. But anyway, see, and probably I didn't realize it because I'm frantically typing, Clara springs into action. Clara's like, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon, you get me towels, you get me hot water, you get me this, you get me that. Bring him out this way.
What did she say? Now. She says it at least once in every episode.
So Jamie's like, tells Clara the situation, and she's going to be the cover. She's like, okay, I'll cover for you. I kind of, you know what? Jamie and Claire didn't really have any good, like, Jamie and Claire, you know, moments of Jamie and Claire-ness. And I'm sure people will not be happy with that. But I kind of liked, like, Jamie and Claire as, like superheroes. Like, working together to, like,
yeah. Oh, we've had that before,
like,
yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Well, but they've done that before.
Right.
I love it when they do that. They don't always, it's not real if they're always, like,
right.
I liked the one a few weeks ago when he was like, I have been waiting to get you alone. I thought that was a nice thing for like an old married couple to say.
Well, no, but it wasn't like, it didn't have anything to do with like, you know, once we are out of this theater, I'm going to like get you, you know, we're going to go into like Bree and Roger's room and
right.
and have the sweet love like on the
please. And all the close-ups of biddies. And then Roger. And then Mr. Biggs.
What? Oh my God.
That's so funny. Like Bree or Bree's body double has like the greatest body you've ever.
I thought you were going to talk about like people's physiques, physical attributes.
They show her from behind, and it's like the level of perfection of the rear
she
end.
is the daughter of Jamie and Claire. Come on. What do you expect?
Not he believed. And then poor Richard / Roger, they'll do a close up on him just laying there. Like, who looks good like that ever? He's like just laying there.
He looks normal. He looks like an Oxford professor, which is what he is.
He looks normal. Like, it just reminded me of Mr. Bates.
Mr. Bates.
Remember when you were just like, I didn't realize up until this moment that I never, ever in my lifetime needed to see Mr. Bates in bed.
Oh my God, I think I'm getting a hernia now.
Okay, gotta keep going.
All right, okay. Moving.
Yelling the order. Now. Get me hot water. Get me some linens. Blah, blah, blah.
And Tryon is like, find us a surgeon. And Claire's like, you dumb F. I am a surgeon.
Out my way.
And I think we need to have a new drinking game. Anytime Claire says, if I don't operate, this man will die.
Which is anywhere from a splinter to a gunshot wound.
If I don't operate, this man will die.
Yes. So they're like, all right, fine, do what you're going to do. And then she saves him, and everyone loves Claire now.
Okay. So meanwhile, Jamie runs out.
The surgeon shows up, when the actual physician shows up.
Oh my God. I wrote that down.
Probably ready to like bleed him and like, put leeches on him or something.
No, because he says,
Claire's like,
he says, all he needed was tobacco smoke up through the rear. And everyone's like, you might as well have been just talking about cherry trees at that point.
All he needed was a corn husk under his toes.
Okay, so Jamie runs out. And who does he see leaving? Why, it's General Washington and his lovely wife, Martha, who we never really made. And they're like, want to ride? And Jamie's like, because Claire has filled Jamie in, which I was kind of surprised Claire hasn't like filled him in about the whole history of the country already. But
I'm always, even in the books, I didn't mean to supersize that, by the way. Even in the books, I'm always amazed of the things that Claire hasn't told Jamie. I'm like, you didn't tell me that?
I know.
Also, he probably doesn't want to know. And she probably doesn't want to, Anyway, let's keep going.
So I was just like, oh my God, no, please, no. Don't Jamie get in with them and then like talk them into, being patriots. Please. I cannot deal if Jamie Fraser is responsible for George Washington becoming the father of our country. I can't deal with that. No. So, but anyway, we never really find out what they talk about in the wagon. But, so we're back to the theater, and yes, Claire is doing her little surgeon.
Claire is sewing up the dude, and they're like in shock. Right. I was like, did they not sew people up in the 18th century?
Right. They're just all like really entertained. We should say actually that this scene is kind of does happen in the books, except it doesn't happen at a theater. It happens at a dining room table, and the person being operated on is none other than John Quincy Meyer. Yeah. And the hernia isn't like exactly there. It's maybe a little lower down. But, which makes it even more interesting.
Downtown.
Yes. So what's very interesting is Claire's like to try and like just talk to him, like, ease his pain, ease his mind. And Tryon's all like, don't worry, Fanning. When this is all over, I'm going to take a big chunk out of the treasury and build you a really nice house. And Claire's, I'm sure, is like, eh? And then after the surgery, Tryon's like, he's not going to remember that, right? So I think we're seeing that Tryon is maybe not quite, above board. Okay, so, and yes, the real surgeon arrives, and it's pretty funny. That was funny. That was a funny line.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sitcom funny.
Right.
Okay, so here comes the wagons. We're back where Myrta is, and here comes the regulators.
Or are they being taken to jail in the back of the
think I
Try.
saw something. So we're just seeing them come. That's all. Then Claire finishes up. Did you notice that, like, Claire was wearing this lovely white gown, or, like, off-white gown?
Yes, and got nothing on it, like the Cullens hunting. She was like Edward. She had precision. She was no new Bella. She was Edward.
She had not a drop on her. And in fact, they had kind of cleaned up, I guess, or something. I don't know. Somebody had cleaned up because there was no blood anywhere. Anywhere.
No.
You know,
Can't light the stove.
The Rufus surgery where there was just blood everywhere.
Yes, can't light the stove, but can go through a surgery on a table in the middle of the theater with no blood.
So Jamie's back. Got back just in time. Hopes he got word to Murtaugh, but we don't know how. So we're back to Murtaugh. And they're just about to, like, get the wagon, whatever, and then no, they know you're here, and Murtaugh's like, Fergus, and Fergus is like, Below sent me, you cannot do it.
But Murtaugh was like, Fergus.
I was like, they haven't seen Fergus yet? Like,
he hasn't seen Fergus. No, he hasn't seen him. I thought that was touching.
Yes, it was very nice. It was a nice
so
reunion.
Fergus just happened to be able to get down there and let them all know.
I guess. Well, Jamie could have done it, but he had to get back. That's the problem.
Right.
That was the issue.
Right.
So that was
he
very
got
smart.
To Fergus and got back, and Fergus got down to. Yeah.
So Jamie gets the Smart Boy Award of the episode because that was a good plan that he put into place.
But you know what? It was very book-worthy because Fergus did stuff like that.
Right.
Fergus always came through for Jamie and did his dirty work.
When is Fergus moving to the Ridge? Like, when is that happening? Because I'm tired of him being in Wilmington. I want him there all the time.
I know. I agree.
Okay.
And where's Ian?
Yeah, Ian. Well, no, Ian was coming the next day.
Jeez.
Ian was coming the next day. Well, I forgot what Ian looks like. We haven't seen him in so long.
Right.
Murtaugh was a little peeved with Jamie, though. He's like, he couldn't come himself to warn me.
He's busy at the theater.
He's busy with his friends, Governor Tryon, and the tax palace. So,
right.
Whatevs, Jamie.
Right.
Okay, back to Bree and Roger. So, blah, 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 blah. Wait a minute. How did you know about the smudged death date, Roger? I didn't tell you that part. And I was just thoroughly confused at that point because I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't Roger calling her?
That's what I thought. Talk to her roommate. He called and talked to her roommate. So why didn't he just say, I tried to call you, but you left already?
You left because, you're a bitch and you just...
And they have this monster fight. And I'm like, this is making no sense.
I know.
Why didn't he just say, look, what do you want me to do? You've been traipsing around Scotland when I called to tell you.
Right.
And then why didn't he just say, why do you think I'm here? Because I called to tell you weren't home. You already came through the stones. I came through after you.
Right.
Although he should have told her already, I guess.
Right.
Before he got her into someone else's barn with a beautiful fireplace. And so that can be summed up in they fought again. And yeah. And this bothered me big time.
Why?
Because he left her in there. I don't care how mad you are at her. You do not leave her in another century where men are like everything and women are nothing. You do not just like walk out of the barn and leave her in there by herself. You make sure she gets to where she needs to go. What kind of a dude are you? I was like, I don't know about this, man. What kind of guy are you that you just left her in there after Mr. Batesing and then just like left, got mad at her and left? I'm sorry, this isn't the 20th. Well, at the time it would have been the 20th. This isn't the 20th century. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Carol,
this isn't what?
She and Lizzie are doing fine with themselves.
Oh, God. Sure you are. I think as we've seen in the next scene, no, you're not. Because I thought, I thought it was done so well.
Wait, are we there already? Wait,
yes.
wait. I do want to say it was that last scene between Bree and Roger, it was a little weird in that I don't know why he didn't just say, I was going to tell you, but you left, duh. It was a good scene. Like they were both
they have good fights, yeah.
They had a really good fight.
Yeah. And then he ditched her, and I
I guess it didn't bother me quite as much because she was kind of being a little, you know. I get where you're coming, and I get where he's coming. I get them both.
Where's he coming from? He's mad at her. You still don't leave a woman in the 18th century who you supposedly love and are mad at in by herself in a barn to just come out and by herself and walk around at night, and you know what it's like. No, sorry. I'm sorry.
I guess. I don't know.
Never. That will never be okay with me. This is not modern day and even modern day, I'm sorry. I would not want him to leave her in a strange place, in the dark, in a barn.
I don't think, was it night? I don't think it was night, was it? I don't think it was night.
Nighttime when she comes out. Yes, it's night. Fire. They have the fire going. It's dark. Woo.
Well, they always have the fire going.
It's night, Tracy. I'm looking at it right now. It's night.
Oh, all right. Okay. So, okay, they're back at the theater, and, no, they're coming home from the theater, and I guess, like, why isn't Claire in the carriage, or is she? I don't know. It's Tryon, it's some other dude, and it's Jamie, and Tryon's like, I don't know who, like, let the cat out of the bag, you know, I told you, and Fanning, and, like, some other guy, and Washington, that's right, because Washington now is privy to the, Loyalist secrets.
How does Tryon know already that it didn't go down?
Oh, good point.
They've only been at the theater for how long? Like,
good point. How does he know? That's a very good point. I guess maybe they had a messenger that says like it arrived or whatever.
Yeah, but, like how many hours do they have at the theater?
But good point. Well, they had to clean up, the surgical wing
because it was all over the table and not Claire.
Right. So Jamie's like, oh, this lets me off. And he totally throws Washington under the bus. He's like, well, I don't think Jamie was the one to do it, actually. It was the other guy, whoever that guy was. He's like, I saw them leave early. And Jamie's like, yeah, so did I. Yeah. And Tryon's like, I knew Washington was up to no good.
So now Jamie Fraser is the reason that George Washington decided to fight King George.
I told you, I can't with the Jamie Fraser is the reason that George Washington is the father of our country. I cannot do that. I cannot play in that sandbox, you guys. I can't do it. I cannot do it.
Okay.
Wait, Carol, we need to calm ourselves. Okay, so we go back to Bree. She's sort of staggering out. She's very upset after the whole Roger fight. She goes back to the tavern. I guess she's going to go upstairs. And Stephen Bonnet's like, sort of pulls her over, and he's like, blow on this for luck.
And it just happens to be
Claire's ring.
Oh, gee, I came over here, all of these people, and you just happen to have my mother's ring.
And so Brianna looks at it, and she's like, where'd you get this? And Bond's like, I just got it, whatever. And she's like, this is my mother's. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, she's all right when I left her. She's fine. And Brianna's like, what do I have to do? Like, I'll buy this back or whatever. He's like, oh, well, let's go talk over here in this, off to the side room over here. So they go in, and Brianna's like, how much you want for it? And he's like, oh, I have plenty of money. I don't want that. And then Stephen Bonnet just is very, very, very bad.
How can you like this guy? I
have to say, I think Stephen Bonnet and I are on a break at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was really that was a rough scene. That was really rough. And
not only was it rough, but it was so well done.
Yes.
The power of suggestion. All you heard, you just heard. And it was you barely heard. It was so well done from the standpoint of the dudes sitting out there drinking and playing cards, picking their teeth.
Yes.
And they had that, what attitude.
Yeah, and that's why it was shocking. It was shocking for two reasons. It was shocking because of what was happening, and it was shocking because of the way people were reacting to it.
And in my opinion, it was completely on target. I thought that they would have been the same way. Like, right. Bonnet.
Well, I don't think it's the first rodeo that room back there has seen.
No, and I think that these guys have seen him do it a million times. And back then, she had no rights. So that was fine.
Right.
Again, why Roger shouldn't have left her. Why Roger shouldn't have just walked out and left her. I'm not blaming Roger.
The only reason maybe I'm not quite as like on board with ire at that is because Brianna has been like living on her own in the 18th century for anywhere from, it's probably been several months at this point. So
it doesn't matter. What matters to me is Roger. Roger's actions matter to me. It doesn't matter that she's been living on her own. I'm sorry.
Yes, I hear you. I didn't have as much of a visceral reaction to that as you did, but I get it. I understand. I get it. So yeah, that was just a brutal scene.
It was perfect. It was perfect because we didn't have to see anything. It was all what you were hearing. To me, it was 10 times better than if they had shown us anything.
Right. Exactly. Just the noise of it was just brutal.
Awful.
So she leaves. He gives her the ring back. If you see your mother, give her my regards.
And I loved that line. I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically like, hey, I'm a pirate, but I'm true to my word or something like that.
Right.
And he really feels that way.
Right.
He really thinks that he did her a solid by giving her that ring.
I felt so bad for Brianna because it happened in the books. In the books, it's actually, I mean, without going into like details about it, it's like a couple of days later. It's not like right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
right.
I know.
Like poor Brianna. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it's even worse. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really well done.
And I love how they faded to black. Like
when
she's
going
just
up
like
the stairs.
going up the stairs.
Now, where was Lizzie?
In the room, praying.
No, Lizzie, I have a feeling that Lizzie could kick Stephen Bonnet's ass.
But wouldn't have dared. It was the 18th century. You didn't
No.
No.
You
had no rights.
Lizzie sees her mistress is getting all,
Yeah, and if she did
danger?
anything like that, they could have killed her and no one would care.
No, I think this Lizzie is different from book Lizzie.
But
this Lizzie...
Tracy, there were men everywhere. They have spies everywhere. I'm going to find you that, remind me to find you that scene. I probably have it saved on my computer already.
Can you...
Seriously. There were guys everywhere. If Lizzie tried to intervene, the same thing would have happened to Lizzie.
Right.
And then they would have left her for dead. No.
Right.
That's not the way it worked.
Right.
I just get myself so mad when I see like history being rewritten because we're all feminists today. No, that's not the way it works.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I had a little more of a problem with history being rewritten. And maybe it wasn't rewritten with the Washington stuff. Maybe it wasn't. But it was like...
Maybe Washington really was a dumbass.
I don't know. I'm going to go with the not dumbass version of things.
Not dumbass.
Not dumbass. Can you hang on for 2 seconds? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
2 seconds. Be right back.
Yeah, two, because I got to go. You guys, okay, so you know what I'm doing right now? I'm totally Googling George Washington Culloden. Okay? Culloden. And let's see what's going to come out.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I wonder if I love how I'm like, let's see what's going to come out. Nothing's going to come out. It's not like he was there. No, seriously, though. I just want to know, like, if they ever mention, Tracy, I'm Googling George Washington and Culloden, just to see if there's ever anything that has the two of them mentioned in something. Like I said, it's not like he was there or something, but
right.
I just can't with that. What? Culloden. Oh, bye. Are you going off to fight another battle I don't know about? Like, the cringe. My kids would say, the cringe.
Now, I mean, and again, I Googled all of it. I Googled, like, Washington, North Carolina, Regulators, Loyalists. And again, it's right around this time that he does start to be like, but it's more like, I'm a, plantation owner and I, like, grow tobacco or whatever he grew. And they're taxing the shit out of me. And it's really starting to piss me off.
Right.
Just like everybody else. And I kind of wonder if at this point Tryon would have sort of known that he's, kind of pissed.
Right.
So I don't know. Did you like this episode? Do you not like this episode?
I did, except for the lady bits everywhere. I didn't need I didn't need the chest hair. I didn't need the lady bits. I just didn't need all that. I mean, I'm sorry. 2 seconds of, you know what though, honestly, you guys, and feel free to disagree with me. That's totally cool. I've never been one who's needed quite so much of the bare nakedness of Jamie and Claire either. You know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot of scenes that I could have cut much, much earlier, and that I didn't need the nipple close-ups, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me,
I mean, we're not getting that much anymore, which is good, which is fine with me. But I think that in the beginning you kind of did need it because it's Jamie and Claire. But I felt like that from the books too. Like I was like. Right. I didn't really need to see, pages and pages of Bree Roger sex because
no.
I'm not I'm not
I don't
invested.
Care.
I haven't been with them since the first page of the book series.
Okay, for the same reason that I'm certainly not going to say liked. I appreciated the Stephen Bonnet rape scene for the fact that they didn't show anything. Right. It was only what we heard. It was so well done. It was eerie and creepy, and it was perfect.
Right.
That is the reason that I don't need. To me, I like the power of suggestion. I like less is more. I would so much rather not see. I'm not saying I don't want to see that I'm like some kind of prude who doesn't want to see any kind of nakedness or anything like that, but I don't need to see close-ups of an actor's private areas.
Right. No, I get it.
I don't need to see. I won't even say that. We'll talk about this off camera.
I get it. But and it's more, if I was more invested in them as a couple, if I was more invested in like maybe it would have helped if there was a scene or two that really led to Bree, led to us seeing Bree's feelings, not change. I think she always really did love him, but the realization, oh my God, I do love him. Or, oh my God, what have I done? Or, oh my God, I'm a dumbass, and whatever. It just But again, I felt that way with the book too. So it's not really a show thing. It's more just don't try to make Roger and Bree the new Jamie and Claire.
Right.
It's not needed. You don't need to do it. It's not necessary.
Right.
Whatever.
And on that note.
Yeah. It wasn't one of my favorite episodes.
I liked it. I liked them all. I did. I didn't because of certain things that are introduced. Whenever they introduce something new that happened in the books, I'm like, oh, we're going to see this part. So,
yeah.
But anyway. All right, you guys.
So, you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Don't forget, comment on this episode. Comment on YouTube. Comment on the website. Comment on Facebook and Twitter. Live tweet with us on, well, again, you will have already seen the show by the time this comes out, so I always forgot that. And probably, I don't know what kind of live tweeting there's going to be next week, because I think this was a little up in the air last week. No, there's no breaks. There's no breaks in baseball. That was sort of a, are you there? Are you frozen?
I'm not frozen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no breaks. No, there's Outlander next week too. So I'm going to be not home. So likely no live tweeting unless Carol, you want to do it.
We'll see. With me, it's always if I can, I will type of thing. I did a little bit this week.
You did last week. There was the grand return of Carol live tweeting. So
you know what's the most fun is that I watch it again with Tom, and Tom spits out the most hilarious commentary. Sometimes, when you have to take a.
Oh.
So it's funny. It's
funny.
It's funny.
I didn't know that was part of it.
So much hilarious. Anyway,
you guys,
I really need to go.
If you're really lucky, maybe there'll be some sort of Facebook Live over the holidays, because Carol is hosting Christmas dinner, and there's a lot to imbibe at Carol's house these days.
So all right, you guys.
All right. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we will see you soon. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know, but
Kwanzaa.
We already had Hanukkah, but Happy Hanukkah, late.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Have a great week, you guys.
Bye.